Let's get the ball rolling. We want to be mindful of everyone's time here. Again, for those of you who just joined, my name is Rakesh Agarwal, and I am the founder and CEO of Snapstream Media. We are a software company based here in Houston, Texas, and we're about 30 people. And for a long time now, nearly 10 years, we've made a product that lets organizations record a lot of television and then search inside those shows. And we're how a lot of organizations get their TV clips. I think our very first customer when we started in this business, our very first customer was a government customer. I think 10 years ago, I didn't know what a public information officer was. I had certainly seen them on television, but we quickly learned the value of our product to PIOs, and that has been a kind of a staple for us in our business as we've grown. So right before we really get into this, I want to just lay out some ground rules. There are a couple of us here on the call. I'll be turning things over to Mike here a little bit later in the call. Mike, you want to say hi to everybody?
Hey everybody, how's it going?
So Mike is our account manager who is responsible for all of our government customers, and anyhow, I just want you to know there are several of us on the call, so don't hesitate to interrupt and ask questions. We would really like that actually, because if you ask questions, then we can share those with the audience. We like more engagement and back and forth. We like to make these things interactive. So it's virtual, but it's more fun that way if we can actually leverage the fact that we have all these smart people in the audience. So, all right, let's get to it. As I said, we're a software company based in Houston, Texas, and we make software that lets people record television and search inside those shows. And it turns out that this is really useful for city governments, county government organizations, federal government customers, and we have quite a few customers at all those levels. We've got some of them laid out here. Interesting side note, even though this isn't an audience of video editors and people in video production, but we have a lot of national TV shows that as media mavens you probably all know very well, like The Daily Show and Colbert and Samantha Bee and John Oliver. So if you've ever wondered how they get their TV clips, they all use Snapstream. They're all customers of ours. So with that, I want to just give you a layout of what all we're going to be talking about today. We'll try to talk about what we've seen, having city government customers, what we've seen as best practices for crisis communications. And then we want to talk about video and the importance of video in your communication strategy, especially during crises. And then we'll talk some more about Snapstream and our product, and I'll hand it over to Mike at one point, and he'll do a demonstration of the product and then wrap up the web demo. So obviously, what is crisis communications? I think United Airlines has provided us with ample recent examples of, not examples, but they've provided us with a great recent example of that. It's obviously, I think you all know this very well, it's really important to, mitigate damage to your reputation and to have a clear channel of communication that reaches the general public in a crisis communication scenario. And United Airlines is a recent example, the Oroville Dam failure, and then there's a hand-raising feature in GoToWebinar. So I'm going to ask, how many people here, by a show of hands, have heard about the Adidas Boston Marathon email debacle that happened? I think it was the day before yesterday. Does that sound right? I think it was on Tuesday. Yeah, by a show of hands. So I see 1, 2. You can go look it up, but Adidas sent out an email after the Boston Marathon, which was in extremely poor taste, given the Boston Marathon bombings that occurred a few years ago. Yeah, that was no doubt a communication crisis for them. So best practices as we've learned them, there's sort of a set of things we've learned it's important for people to do ahead of time. So develop a crisis management plan. And I'm going to, by another show of hands, how many people here in their organizations have a crisis management plan? How many of you already have a crisis management plan? Show of hands as an organization. So, looks like about roughly 20% of you, from what I can tell. That's good. It's important in that plan to have predefined roles. Roles like who's going to talk to the media, who's going to post updates to the website, and we've seen organizations that are at the top of their game make a list of possible crises, which can be maybe a little I don't know what the right word for it is. It can be maybe a sort of a slightly dark exercise to go through this, but discussing those scenarios preemptively and having an outline strategy for the different crises is something we've seen organizations that are at the top of their game doing. And then, in general, it's really important to try to be the first to know about an incident, or to know about things quickly. And there are great tools out there to monitor social, Twitter and Facebook, as well as monitoring TV. Obviously, that's part of what we do here at Snapstream. So, for social, there are tools like TweetDeck, and there are a few other tools. I'm forgetting the name of this one company that does, has access to the Twitter fire hose, and specifically monitors for sort of nascent incidents that are just breaking out and just occurring. So anyhow, maybe one of you remembers what the name of that company is. Maybe somebody here actually uses them. It's a news something. I can't remember their name right now. But anyhow, if you do know, you can put that in the chat, or you can put that into a question. And then, of course, during a crisis, important to wait to get complete information. It's important to emphasize in those pressurized moments, accuracy over speed. It's important to be consistent, to not mix your messages, and be very, very deliberate in the message you're trying to get out. And it's really important to monitor both the delivery of your message. So you speak to the news, speak to TV, speak to newspapers, and then it's important to have a feedback loop and see how that message was delivered and whether it was received correctly. I know we have customers, for example, at the Houston Emergency Operations Center. We have a few other OEMs that as customers, emergency management centers, and these are kind of war rooms where they manage crisis situations. And one thing that we've seen is that these organizations will like, for example, I remember a hurricane in Houston where they reversed the direction on the freeway so that both the northbound and southbound lanes to Austin were both made northbound lanes to Austin, and they had to inform the public that they were going to be doing this to aid in the evacuation process, and making sure that that message was received correctly and disseminated correctly by the media was critically important to the whole evacuation effort. So let's continue on here. So why is video important? So video is important. 57% of people get their news from TV. 50% of 18 to 29-year-olds get use social for news, and for stuff that's shared as video on social, it's way more likely to get shared. The data all supports this, and the bigger picture here is that as a culture we're moving towards more visual medium. There was a earnings call about 2 years ago. This phenomenon is not new, but there was an earnings call 2 years ago in which Mark Zuckerberg, the founder and CEO of Facebook, talked about their efforts in video and how it was rapidly growing. And he described the arc of Facebook as one of starting out as all text messages and going from text messages to still images. And of course, Facebook today is the largest photo sharing site, in humanity, and that the arc of that was continuing to video. And of course, since then, even then and since then, we've seen Facebook's video numbers explode. We all know that Facebook prioritizes videos and above other types of content. They've put a big effort behind Facebook Live, and tried to make that a staple of the platform. So as a culture, we are getting wired to consume media in the video format. There are lots of other indicators to support this. There's been a rise in a whole new class of publishers that are really good at doing video. If you look at BuzzFeed's growth, for example, something like 70% of their the views that they get, whether if you look at the mix, 70%, 80% of those views come from videos that BuzzFeed creates. In the news world, if you haven't seen it, go check out Now This News. They've entirely built their model on creating, cracking the code on videos for news that play well in the news feed. They autoplay well, they have overlaid text. So this is a huge deal, and it's really important for PIOs. So what do we consider best practices for videos? It's important to understand your audience. We've heard this time and again. Twitter is at least today, it's dominantly a place to reach the influencers. It's where your post will get shared and seen by media people that are in the know. And there is the general public there as well, but obviously it skews more in terms of what you're going to get out of it towards the sort of the media-rati. Facebook is going to be your individual constituents more so than probably Twitter would be. So YouTube provides an official channel. I think there are opportunities that PIOs have, and this is probably a relatively new practice for most PIOs, but there's an opportunity PIOs have to repurpose media mentions of their own organization and their messages from trusted sources. And it's really important to include the right hashtags and @replies so that others have an opportunity to disseminate your message. And this one's critically important. If you're uploading videos in a non-native fashion, you're missing out. The videos that get uploaded as native Facebook videos or native Twitter videos are the ones that are going to get engagement. They're going to get promoted in the timeline, and they're going to actually bring you views and bring you audience. So I can't emphasize this native video thing enough. It's just, it's critically important. And then there's some, if you're not using, by a show of hands, how many people have done a Facebook Live or a Periscope broadcast from their official organization account? So looks like about 30% of the folks on the call have done a Periscope or Facebook Live video. So just I'll tell you that it's a good idea to try it out, and to integrate this more into the work that you do as a PIO office. If you're not doing this, you're going to have to play catch up at some point. So I want to take a moment and ask a few poll questions. We've it's a way for us to get a better idea of the audience, and also I'll share the results back out with you so that you can kind of see what other people's answers are. So the first question here is, it goes back to the communications plan. Do you have a crisis communications plan, and are roles clearly assigned? So so yeah, we have a communications plan. We have both. Just have a plan, or no plan and no roles assigned. So we'll let everyone here reply. Give it a few minutes. Or not a few minutes, a few seconds. Okay, so to share the results out with you, I did a show of hands earlier, but you can kind of see that, lined up here. About 50% of you have a plan, a little less than 50% have a plan, and then about half of you have no plan. So it's a good idea, however small your organization, to put a plan in place. If you go Google online, you'll see some good guidance on how to set one of these things up. Here's another question: what's your go-to way of getting information out? And obviously, some of you might answer yes, as in, we use all of these channels, and that's fine. Just pick the one that sort of, is the first one you view as the most important channel to put something out there. Again, I'll give you all a second here. Okay, let's share the results out here. Pretty interesting. So, we got basically, 1/3, 1/3, 1/3 in terms of the poll results here. Press release, Twitter, and Facebook. I think the important thing that I'll mention here is that you need to do all of these channels. Obviously, there's a I don't know if I have it handy here, but there's a let me see if I can find it real quick. But there's a really great example. If you look at it, what I'll do is when Mike takes over, I'll share the graphic out with you all. But there's a great example of how BuzzFeed runs their business, and basically BuzzFeed is really different from the media companies that have preceded them, in that like 90% of the consumption of stuff that BuzzFeed creates happens off of a BuzzFeed property. So it's really, really important for you to be getting your content out there to all the different channels where people spend their time today. I think that's the main takeaway here is, but I'll share that graphic out with you all, because it's super illuminating when you get a look at it in clear terms. You see that BuzzFeed has had a strategy of letting content go to where the people are, not trying to bring people to their property. So, all right, well, I'm going to talk about how SnapStream works and how we help in these situations. So, oh, I got to turn the poll off. Yeah. So, how does SnapStream work? First of all, what's the general model here? So, we're an appliance that lives at your location, and this is there's an asterisk, an exception on that. We do have a cloud version of our product as well, but generally people, especially government organizations, they like the on-premise product better. You take your TV source and you plug that into Snapstream. And then Snapstream is like the DVR that you have at home. You can record hundreds of TV shows. For most I don't know, hundreds, you can record, 10, 20, 30, 50, 100 channels at the same time and make thousands, tens of thousands of recordings really easily. So we're kind of like the DVR you have at home, but it's more like a DVR on steroids. And then it's accessible over your LAN. So you sit at your desktop, Mac or Windows PC, and you can search inside those TV shows. We have this powerful search technology that indexes all the closed captioning and lets you find a needle in a haystack on TV, the mention of your mayor, the mention of a bond referendum, or whatever it is that might have been mentioned on TV. And Snapstream can be shared across city government organizations. So we'll talk about the city of Austin, for example, where they use Snapstream and they have probably like 15 city agencies all using the same Snapstream setup. Because it's connected over the LAN, people can watch recordings, they can search, create their own clips, and it becomes the central resource inside of an organization. And they do cost sharing of it, so everybody pitches in from their budgets to pay for it. We focus on the software being really easy to use, which is something we take pride in. It's one of the reasons I think city governments love us. We do a lot of business in K through 12, and that's really important there, where teachers just don't have time to mess around with technology, and we recognize that, and that's reflected in the simplicity of our product. So Michael showed this to you, but you can record TV, search inside TV shows. You can set up to get alerts for on TV shows, so you can get notifications in real time, daily alerts. How many people here use Google Alerts in their work of communications? I'm curious. I'm sure that practically all of you do. So show of hands. Click the raise hand icon to indicate whether you use Google Alerts. Yeah, so about 70% of you have raised your hands. I bet the other 30% use it as well and just aren't as engaged in the presentation. So anyway, yeah, so I mean the alerting function is really powerful, and then we make it easy to extract a clip. You can email the clip to somebody. You can post the clip directly to Facebook, post it directly to Twitter, post it to YouTube. So let's run through a couple of case studies. The U.S. Senate is a customer, so they monitor national news, C-SPAN, the Senate floor hearings. They have a pretty substantial setup, and it's interesting because they have a shared setup, so it's something that's used across a lot of different senators' offices, and they all have kind of their own sandbox within their Snapstream setup in which they can make clips, and so it does work really well in these multi-user scenarios. They have begun to use Snapstream quite a bit for sharing clips to Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. Each office can work autonomously, so each organization can have their own Twitter accounts and Facebook pages set up in their accounts and only accessible to them individually. These are some examples here of tweets and Facebook posts that they make. I'll tell you that if you're not posting video to your Facebook and Twitter pages, you're not achieving your potential, because the tweets you send out, the Facebook posts you make with native video on them will get I think the stats are like 4x the engagement of non-native video or non-video tweets and Facebook posts. So these are two good examples, but there are lots of such examples. City of Austin's a great story. They had media monitoring being done in a very fragmented fashion across all of their city departments. Austin Energy, which is the utility company in Austin, the fire department, the police department, the mayor's office, and convention center and trade show bureau. Some people had banks of VCRs, some people had TiVos. This is all pretty labor intensive because some people had like PCs that were set up to record television, and all of this was it's costly, labor intensive, ineffective, time consuming. They put a Snapstream in and they created a single solution. It's in the city of Austin. It happens to be maintained by the municipal TV channel just because that's where it ended up living. But it allows across the city for anyone to log into Snapstream within their organization, create clips. It might be something that's coming on TV right now, or it might be something that came on TV yesterday, and allows them to find a needle in a haystack and then, very easily, quickly collaborate around that stuff. So I think at this stage I will. I think the next step here is to hand this over to Mike Lopez. Let me take a moment here to ask you all if you have any questions. Yeah, somebody asked the question here: can Snapstream be used by more than one person in an organization? Absolutely, and I talked about that. Mike will kind of show you that in the product. But everybody, you can set up as many users as you want on Snapstream, and each user has their own space in which they work inside the software. So any other questions? Let me see here if anybody else has sent in any questions. The question is, can Snapstream search in real time? Yeah, so so Snapstream indexes its recordings as they're being made. So if I was to go in and do a search right now, it would, and it's 11:27 a.m., it would show me results up to 11:27 a.m. So for example, this doesn't really relate so much to TV shows, but I'm sorry, to city governments. But for example, you could do a search on the words breaking news and be notified every time your local CBS or NBC affiliate sees a match on the words breaking news. And the reason I chuckle at that is because, if you watch the news a lot, they use that term very liberally. Not everything they say is breaking news is actually breaking news. So yeah, but the search is definitely real time. All right, so Mike, you ready to take this over?
I am.
Hand it over to you. All right, so there you go.
Perfect. All right. Thank you, Rakesh. So as Rakesh mentioned, my name is Mike. I'm the Government Account Manager here at Snapstream. So definitely I'm going to take us through a pretty step-by-step review of Snapstream software as a whole. As Rakesh mentioned, many users could have this, on the city network, just like the City of Austin does. And then all the PIOs have access to this, exact interface. We even have the ability to take this interface mobile and size it down. So if you have users that are using iPads, Android tablets, whatever type of devices they have, the interface will actually reformat to fit those devices and work inside that environment. So as you log into Snapstream, the home interface is very easy to navigate. We can quickly jump into, the library, our program guide, interface with our social dashboard, or just, simply start searching for keywords that we're looking for. So first place I want to take us to is our program guide and show you how that lays out and how, a PIO would actually go through and set up their recordings. So you can see here, we pull in all of our program guide information based on our zip code. So here in Houston, we're using a mixture of Comcast, DirecTV, and over-the-air antenna feeds to populate our program guide information. So, I have the ability to look at national news as well as local news. we've already kind of gone through and set up our system to record, but I'm going to cheat here and use this first channel, and we'll call it one of our local news stations, and as I select that station, I get a list of options on how I can set up Snapstream to record or monitor that channel for me. I can watch it live. I can set up single episode recordings, record only new broadcasted content, or what most of our PIO or government agencies will do is set up a 24-hour news recording of the entire channel just in case they don't want to miss anything, or if breaking news does occur, something breaks in the middle of the afternoon, they don't miss any of that content, and Snapstream's automatically capturing it for them. Now, once you've actually set up your recordings, the next place that you come into is your library tab. It's probably going to be the most interactive tab on Snapstream, as it houses all of your in-progress recordings, excuse me, recordings that have been completed, and any content or clips that you've created with Snapstream. Over to the left, you have a navigation pane that allows you to kind of sort the library view as you choose. And earlier you heard Rakesh talk about that, when we answered that question, can you use Snapstream for in-progress content? Well, you can see all the shows here on the library tab that have a red dot on them are currently being recorded. So if I wanted to see what's going on our NBC affiliate, the midday news broadcast, I could simply click into that show Let me switch browsers here. Pardon me, I'm just switching over to a different browser. So as we come into the library here, again, I can just simply click on our local news affiliate. And it instantly pulls up our video player. So here you can see, I can instantly start reviewing the news as it's being recorded. One of the things that I do want to preface is Snapstream primarily acts as a DVR first. So just like in most cases, when you pull up a channel that's being recorded on your home DVR, it's going to give you the option to kind of watch that show from the beginning to bring you up to speed. But using our buttons down here in our playback control panel, I can easily skip to the end and follow along with what's going on currently in the broadcast at 11:33 a.m. Over to the right, you'll notice that as we're recording this newscast, we're also pulling in the closed caption data for the broadcast. So the closed caption data is very important to Snapstream, as it's the sole source on how we actually search within Snapstream. So we pull in all of the closed caption data for every broadcast, and then we make that into a searchable library, so that way when you're looking for breaking news or police, fire, the mayor's name, whatever it may be, it's all captured inside of that news broadcast, and it can come up very quickly as soon as you type it into the search window. You'll also notice that inside of the independent broadcasts or the playback here, we also have a search bar built in as well. This allows us to search the program as a whole. So if I just wanted to search what's going on this broadcast, I could easily do so. So if I wanted to look for Houston police inside of the midday newscast, they haven't mentioned anything about Houston police, which is good. Let's see, just do the word Houston. But as soon as I do Houston, you can see there's breaking news. And if I type in the word Houston, I've got 5 mentions inside of just this first half hour of the news where Houston has been mentioned. So I could easily navigate through those and go to each mention of Houston. And once I find a mention that I'm looking for, I can instantly shift over to our clipping tools and begin clipping that content directly out. So taking a step back and talking a little bit about search, search is probably the most important factor of SnapStream. So, we kind of refer to this as like a Google for television. So, if you've got familiarity with using Google to search TV, you can definitely use SnapStream and search for the content you're looking for. So, for example, if I was to search for, Houston police, you can imagine that, across the 30 channels that we're recording, I'm going to get quite a few content here in the Houston area. So you can see, right now we're at 692 recording results found where Houston and police have been mentioned, even up to 34 minutes ago on newscasts that are currently still being recorded. Now, one of the things that we do with our search is, as we look for those keywords, we're looking for mentions of police, we're looking for mentions of Houston. But we can also use filtering to kind of hone in our search and find exactly what we're looking for side by side. So, in this context, if I would simply add quotations to the front and the back of Houston police, I can drill down my search results from 600 results to 278 results and look for only mentions of the words Houston police side by side. We can also add, filters in there, and we can say, Houston mayor, and drill all the way down to 2 results where Houston police and Houston mayor were mentioned, in a newscast 3 days ago. So very easy to kind of filter your results and find exactly what you're looking for. So if it's a very needle in a haystack type mention, SnapStream can definitely get you to that point very easily. We also have a list of pre-built-in filters. So if you don't have anything in the search bar, we have a category or a list of different filters here that will help you kind of build out your search and quickly locate what you're looking for. So for example, the tag search is a really good one. We'll show you how to set that tag up here in a second, but I'm going to go ahead and do a tag search. Tags are custom data points that, allow us to mark a video or mark a clip and, find exactly what we're wanting to keep or what context we want to look for. So for example, if I was looking for this tag filter and I wanted to find an officer involved shooting with HPD, I can look at the tag where I said officer involved shooting, HPD, and it brings me up a recording, from a few days back. So if I click on that, it instantly takes me directly into that moment of mention. You can see here it's got a tag marked directly where my officer involved shooting started, and it breaks directly into the storyline here. So from here, I can easily create my clip and say, okay, hey, I want to keep this clip. It looks like our chief of police responded to this scene, so I'm going to go ahead and set this clip up. So first off, we click the start point. We'll let it play through for a second. And then we click our endpoint. So now I've said, told SnapStream, hey, at this point, I want you to go ahead and clip out, this 1 minute and 13-second segment, involving or regarding our Houston police chief talking about an officer involved shooting. So I can do a couple of things. We quickly hit our scissors icon, and it allows me to create that clip. So for here, I can say officer involved shooting, HPD. Again, I can create my own tags. We can say, Chief Acevedo. We can, excuse me, we can put what section of town this is in. So if you have different folders, different areas of command, you can say Southwest Houston. And we can even choose how we want to process this clip. So if I just wanted to clip this out, store it into my library, all I have to do is click clip and it's done. But let's say I also wanted to share this with, another PIO, or if I wanted to share this with incident command, share this with the chief himself, I could easily click share via SnapStream, and send this clip directly to, whoever I want. So in this case, I'm going to send it to a colleague of mine here, Guyan, and send this to him so he can review it. And I'll go ahead and send a copy to myself as well. And simply just add a body. Here is a clip from Fox News about the officer-involved shooting. And then click clip. So now I've not only saved this clip to my library, but I've instantly created this clip and shared it with a colleague who's going to receive this as a video link directly in their email. So inside their email, they're going to get a link to allow them to review this video, so they can easily see it. So, for example, if I wanted to send this to Chief Acevedo as he's responding to a scene, the moment he steps off the podium, I can send him the clip from his broadcast, where not only is it going to give him a live view of the video clip itself, but the clip is also going to have an embedded transcript in there, so that way he can review what was said during the press conference to make sure that the media is covering it correctly, and they're not changing any of the context or altering any of the transcript or any of the wording. So real quick here, we're going to pause and look over some questions. I see we've got a couple questions coming in. Does Snapstream have any hospital or healthcare clients? We actually do. Not only do we support police, fire, local governments, but we can also support, healthcare clients as well. We've supported the Harris County Healthcare organization, so Harris County Health, as well as private hospitals, across the U.S. as well. So one question was, I noticed you changed browsers. Does it work better with certain browsers? It will work with all browsers. The reason that I made the change over to Internet Explorer is the system that I'm using is recording in a format that's not supported by Firefox currently. But all Snapstream users that go forward with a system nowadays will be recording in H.264 versus MPEG-2 video, which means they have the ability to use all browsers, including Firefox, Chrome, Safari, and the Internet Explorer. All right, so it looks like our clip has been completed. So like I said, if I wanted to very easily look at that video clip, I can click play. And that clip that I created, just like I mentioned, will automatically start playing back here on our machine. So for example, if let me see if we can pull up our email here. We'll show you what it looks like. One second here, apologize. All right, so as we pull up our email here, you'll see that clip that I sent out to myself and to my colleague comes directly to my email. So, instead of a file coming to our email that could, potentially bog down the email inbox, we just send out a secure file that gives you the option to view it in the cloud. So here I can instantly review that clip. I don't have to have access to Snapstream, but it helps if we do have access. If you have access to Snapstream, you can view it on your network. It'll view inside the Snapstream web browser. But if you don't, you'll see here that it comes into a web player of its own. And like I mentioned, it does include the closed caption transcript directly here for you, as well as the ability to download that clip. So if you wanted to save this for presentation, for further review, you could easily do so. So coming back over to Snapstream itself, one other thing I wanted to talk about was the ability to, from a crisis standpoint of reviewing multiple video items at a given time. So we also have a couple of features built in here for joint information centers, emergency operations centers, where we can actually review 4 channels at the same time. So if I wanted to pull up, a couple of different news channels here, we're gonna, nope, wrong one. And we'll pull up this here, we'll pull up Bloomberg. And we click play. So instead of watching one video, I can instantly pull up 4 videos at the same time. So this is really good for breaking news information. So, for example, last week we had that San Bernardino school shooting where all of the local and national news affiliates are breaking into programming with that news information. So to see how those individual markets or individual channels are breaking in with the coverage, you could easily have a multi-view window up here and review how they're covering the story, how it's how they're breaking into the newscast and so forth, and still have the ability to cut and create clips directly from this tool set here. All right. So a couple more features to cover before we kind of wrap up our call here. One of the things that we definitely want to cover is our social media tools. So, earlier you saw me create a clip of an officer-involved shooting. So we're going to go back to that officer-involved shooting, and I'm going to pull that clip up. And then, one of the things that we want to share with that clip is we want to push that out to Facebook and Twitter and YouTube as well. So, from here, I'm going to, fast forward. Let's go ahead and looks like we zoomed in a little bit here. All right, had to zoom back in and zoom back out, but here we're going to start it where our chief comes into play, talking about the scene itself. And we'll end the clip there. And now, taking that 30-second segment, we're going to go ahead and post to Facebook. So, here I have a dedicated media relations page where I can instantly post this directly to our Facebook media relations page. We can say, at Houston Police, Chief Acevedo discussing officer-involved shooting. we keep clip and instantly post, and then within a matter of seconds, I've pushed that clip directly to Facebook. Now, I also want to push that to Twitter. As we discussed, Facebook is for the citizens of the community, a lot of the citizens of the community who are getting their news via that social channel. And then also here we want to say, let's talk about Fox News covering this story here, Fox 26. Melissa Wilson was the covering officer-involved shooting. And at Art Acevedo. There we go. Discussing scene. So here I can instantly take the same video. I can tag both the reporter or the news anchor as well as Chief Acevedo himself, tweet these segments out, and within a matter of seconds I've created not only a Facebook post that I can share with the public, but also a Twitter post that's going out to the same same accounts. And you heard Rakesh, if you're looking to do something, as far as historical archiving, or if you have a YouTube channel that you post a lot of video content to, we also have the ability to, easily upload to YouTube. You simply select the YouTube account that you want to upload to, select how you want it listed, whether it's private, unlisted, or public. Create the description and then instantly push it out to YouTube to upload. So here we see our Facebook post has been loaded. As we pull up, you can see here it is the native video that's built into Facebook. So you can see there that video natively plays back inside of the media relations website. And if I was signed into Facebook on this computer, I'd be able to share it, comment, post it on my own website, and very easily to kind of circulate that post. Same thing with Twitter here. As we view that tweet, you can see here as I push this directly to my personal Twitter page, it automatically, again, natively plays back the video inside of Twitter for me, so that way anybody that follows my Twitter account will have access to, retweet, to like it, to favorite it, and so forth. Very cool thing for us to be able to push this content directly to social media, and then one of the other features that we have built in so you can kind of track how your social media footprint is going is our social media dashboard. So, here we can easily see all posted content that, anything that's been posted via Facebook. If I look at our Twitter feeds, I can see how many times it's been liked, how many times it's been favorited. Same thing with Facebook. We can easily see the analytics for it. I can see how many times a video has been viewed. When we think of how many times a video has been viewed, how long, or how many views it has, the duration, etc. It's a very easy way for us to track the analytics. One of the things that I think of when we talk about our social media tools is the LA Fire Department is a huge proponent of social media. So let's see if I can find the right page here. Yeah, I'm trying, but I gotta log in. Give me 1 second here. Log into Facebook. All right, so it looks like I can't remember my password. We keep all these things saved in vaults nowadays, so I just don't remember what my password is. But if you get a chance to look at Facebook or Twitter, look up LA Fire Department. They've been using our social media tools for quite some time, not only for incident reporting, but they also do a lot of great things with community reporting. Like the last week, unfortunately, a Georgia firefighter was out there on vacation and was involved in an accident, and they, happened to cover the entire situation where they actually, escorted that Georgia firefighter's body, from the accident scene to all the way back to Georgia, where he had his proper burial. So, kind of was a really good showing of support from the LAFD back to the Georgia Fire Department. All right, so kind of coming back into our SnapStream system here. Last thing I want to kind of touch on is the alerts piece. Creating an email alert to kind of mimic Google alerts is very easy to do as well. So very simple. I can say, like we heard Rakesh talk about breaking news. I can do a breaking news search. And instead of, honing in on that search, we can just say, I'm going to create a news alert from there. We select our drop down and create an alert. And we're going to call this a breaking news alert, send this directly to whatever email address we want it to go to. And we're going to say in near real time. So now what we're going to say is anytime the words breaking news occur, we can even say we want to find when HPD is mentioned in this alert. We want to find out when, Chief Acevedo is mentioned in breaking news. We want to find out when HFD is mentioned. I can easily set that up to where I can monitor those alerts as they come in. And then as a breaking news alert, it will send me an alert every time those keywords pop up. So you can see here, we probably will have some that have happened from earlier today, which we did. A little over an hour ago, we had breaking news come up on that NBC newscast. So if I wanted to instantly review that video, simply pull it up from my email, click on the link, and it drops us right into that mention. So, keeps you from having to go back and forth and trying to remember, hey, where did this happen? If breaking news occurs overnight while you're off shift, you can instantly come back to it and quickly get to that point of mention without spending a lot of time looking for that newscast. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and start to wrap up our demo here. We're going to see if there's any other questions that have been asked. Like we mentioned earlier, we have plenty of SnapStream staff here available to answer questions. So if you do have some questions and we haven't gotten to them, throw those out there. We're going to stay on the line for the next couple of minutes to kind of address some of these questions. And if you have any other questions, or if you'd like to talk further about SnapStream, feel free to reach out to us. My email address is mike@snapstream.com, or you can email sales@snapstream.com as well. Like I said, we'll stay on for about 5 or 10 more minutes and answer those questions that are coming in. Thanks for joining us, and we hope to hear from you soon. Oh, and one other piece of information I forgot to mention is we are going to be sending out a copy of the video. So even if you did attend, you'll get a copy of the actual video from today's presentation. So if you want to share that with colleagues who are out of the office or didn't get a chance to make it onto the call, we'll send you that link so that you can review that video at your discretion. Again, thanks for joining, and we'll talk to you soon.